We're often told that women are more resilient, more adaptable, more stress tolerant, and biologically, that may be true, at least in some areas. But when it comes to air pollution and its effect on the brain, the story turns darker. A growing body of research now suggests that female brains may actually be more vulnerable to the cognitive consequences of environmental toxins, and that our historical failure to study sex-based neurological differences may be obscuring the full scope of the damage. The science is still evolving, but here's the disturbing picture emerging. Women may be at higher risk of pollution-related cognitive decline, faster brain aging, and earlier onset of dementia symptoms, particularly in urban areas with chronic air quality issues. That's not just bad news for public health. It's a gendered environmental injustice that's been largely overlooked. Several large-scale epidemiological studies have already shown that women exposed to high levels of air pollution, especially fine particulate matter, PM2.5, and nitrogen dioxide, and O2, experience faster declines in memory, attention, and executive function than men. In a study published in Neurology, researchers found that older women living in areas with high PM2.5 exposure showed significantly more brain atrophy and white matter damage than men of the same age and exposure levels. Another 2021 study out of the University of Southern California found that women aged 65 and older were more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease if they lived in areas with chronic air pollution, even after adjusting for income, education, and lifestyle factors. Why might female brains be more at risk? Hormones are a major part of the equation, but not in the protective way we once hoped. Estrogen has long been viewed as neuroprotective. It plays a role in maintaining synaptic health, regulating neurotransmitter systems, and reducing oxidative stress, all of which should, in theory, buffer the brain against pollution-induced inflammation. And indeed, some studies suggest premenopausal women may be somewhat shielded from air pollution's worst cognitive effects. But that shield fades fast. After menopause, estrogen levels drop sharply, removing that protective barrier. For many women, this hormonal crash happens right when exposure risk is highest, in late middle age, during years of peak urban commuting, caregiving stress, and often increased exposure to secondhand environmental toxins at home or work. The result? A double blow. Weakened hormonal defenses combined with chronic inhalation of neurotoxic particles. It's a biochemical setup for cognitive erosion. And unlike some male-dominated professions that have strict safety regulations for industrial toxins, many women are exposed through invisible, unregulated pathways: indoor air pollution, vehicle exhaust during childcare drop-offs, fumes from household cleaning products, or long hours spent in poorly ventilated service sector jobs. These exposures are chronic, low-dose, and dismissed as safe, even though the accumulating damage says otherwise. Another factor? Women have different immune responses. In general, female immune systems are more reactive, great for fighting off infections, but bad when it comes to chronic neuroinflammation, the exact process triggered by pollution particles entering the brain. Overactivation of microglia, the brain's immune cells, has been linked to higher risk of dementia, depression, and anxiety. And guess what? Women show higher microglial sensitivity to environmental stressors than men, meaning their brains may go into inflammatory overdrive more easily and stay there longer. And while men tend to show more early cognitive loss in spatial or motor processing, women's decline often hits verbal memory and emotional regulation first, symptoms that are easier to dismiss, underdiagnose, or attribute to mood issues or stress. This diagnostic bias means pollution-triggered brain dysfunction in women may go unrecognized for years, especially when it doesn't follow the male-centric templates most research was based on. The result is a silent epidemic: women who feel like they're losing mental sharpness, becoming more forgetful, more anxious, more easily overwhelmed, and no one's asking whether the air they breathe has anything to do with it. And here's the kicker: many of the cognitive risks associated with pollution are compounded by gendered social roles. Women are more likely to be caregivers for children, spouses, aging parents. They're more likely to work part-time, meaning fewer financial resources to move out of polluted areas. They're more likely to live near highways or in high-density housing. And they're less likely to be taken seriously when they report vague symptoms like brain fog or memory problems. So, let's be clear. Pollution isn't gender neutral. It may settle on every neighborhood, every commute, every breath, but its effects penetrate differently and in many ways, more destructively, into female brains. The idea that estrogen protects women from cognitive decline used to be a comforting theory. But now it looks more like a temporary truce, one that ends abruptly just when women are most exposed and least supported. The consequences? Higher dementia rates, lower quality of life, more years spent in cognitive decline, more pressure on families and healthcare systems already overwhelmed. If we're serious about environmental justice, we need to stop treating women's brains as an afterthought in pollution research. Because every day we don't, another generation of women is breathing in toxins that their bodies aren't built to fight forever, and slowly losing pieces of themselves in the process.